Well, my name is Mary Lee Malaby, and I'm 76 years old, and I was born in Tucson.
So, your father used to loan out money to people.
Yeah.
And he loaned out money to a certain police officer? Can you tell us what happened?
I don't know if he was a detective, police, sheriff. I don't know. I know he was law enforcement, and his name was Chet Sherman. And Chet Sherman was one of the people that caught John Dillinger when he was apprehended here in Tucson. So after he got him, they took some guns away from John Dillinger, so he took the guns over to my dad's store and says, "Here, Lee," he says, "keep these guns for safekeeping until he goes on trial." So my dad kept the guns for John Dillinger at the store. But Chet Sherman used to use my father too, because I found records where, you know, all these people would borrow money. My father would very methodically write when they borrowed the money and when they paid it. And then he borrowed money and never paid his bill, so, you know. But if my father needed a favor, I guess that was a way of doing the favor, so that maybe that's why he was able to buy property on Tucson Boulevard, on Speedway, when nobody else could. He was very, very protective of the Chinese community. During the war, 1944-45, we had to have ration stamps to buy food, pineapple, coffee, sugar, and all that stuff, gasoline, nylon hose, and you had to have your book of stamps. I still have my book of stamps from 1945. And of course, the meat companies also, you know, they didn't sell to everybody. So Swift and Company was very popular here. And my dad says, "I want 50 cases of lard," because we lived in the South Side and a lot of people made tortillas. And the salesman says, "We don't have any lard." So my father called his relative, Lee Ho, and said, "Did you buy any lard from Swift?" He said, "Yeah." And he says, "Just this week?" And he said, "Yes." So he said, "Okay, Swift wouldn't sell it to me. We're going to boycott him. I don't want any Chinese stores to buy from Swift anymore." And they listened to my dad. They bought everything from Peyton Packing. They boycotted him because they wouldn't sell. And he says, "You're not selling to any more Chinese stores." Of course, that's all there was here in Tucson, Chinese stores. But I always thought of my dad as very humble. But he wasn't very humble. He didn't take too much guff from anybody.
In the heart of the Sonoran Desert in southern Arizona, urban agriculture is gaining momentum. More and more city dwellers are joining the local food movement by growing their own vegetables, raising chickens, and now, as unlikely as it may seem, adding a hive or two in their backyards. The European honeybee and their more aggressive cousin, the Africanized bee, are crucial to maintaining the rich diversity of fruits and vegetables that grace our dinner table. Without them, and the other pollinating insects, it is estimated that more than 40% of common foods around the world would disappear. For us, the essential task of the honeybee is pollination, but we are far more likely to associate bees with the delicious honey they produce, and of course, the occasional sting if we make them mad. Chef Barry Infuso and his wife Yashio are visiting a local beekeeper for a closer look at an urban hive and to learn a little about bees and honey production. Before approaching the hives, Linda helps them dress in the traditional bee suits, and she goes on to explain how necessary it is to tread quietly and move slowly around active bees. Weaving through the vegetable garden and past a chicken coop, the hives are tucked away in a quiet, isolated corner of the property.